Hi, I'm Miss Rose, Head Librarian at the King's School Canterbury, and this is a short video presentation on revision and exam skills. We'll cover stress and the brain, creating a study schedule, different revision techniques, and top tips for exam success. Exams are stressful. That may sound like stating the obvious, but stress can either improve or sabotage your performance. When you get stressed, your body releases adrenaline. Adrenaline increases your heart rate, constricts your blood vessels, turns fat into energy, dilates your pupils for better vision, and directs all resources to the area of the body required for the task you are focused on. Now that sounds good, right? But when stress turns to panic, your body releases cortisol. Cortisol suppresses your immune system, increases your fat stores around your midsection, and can impair sleep, focus, mood, and performance. And cortisol takes much longer to leave your body than adrenaline. So understanding how your brain responds in stressful situations like exams is key to your academic and psychological success. Your brain bandwidth is limited. Just like your broadband capacity, your brain has a finite amount of bandwidth. This is roughly the same for everyone. Every action you undertake occupies a certain amount of bandwidth. Your brain bandwidth can be taken up by intrusive thoughts and worries, change and new things, processing information, scarcity of food, money or time, screens, and yes, reading online uses more brain bandwidth than paper in almost all circumstances. And finally, resisting temptation. Temptation to watch TV, talk to your friends, all sorts of things. When something's occupying a lot of bandwidth, other tasks happen more slowly and less well. So if you're struggling to concentrate on your revision, perhaps you need to relax and take some worries off of your mind. Plan your time to calm the panic. Try moving from a screen to paper, or move your phone out of sight and out of mind. Just thinking about the possibility of notifications gives you the same dopamine hit as actually getting notifications. Before you plan, let's just pause for a moment and accept that our brains aren't built to study for exams. We're not designed to make long-term focused decisions. We're hardwired to care more about what's happening now, which is why some of you will already be turning away for some entertaining distraction rather than getting through this guide. All this means is that you need to find ways to help improve your ability to revise. So here are some tips to help you revise in the best possible way for you. What type of person are you? Do you prefer to work in short sessions, interspersing your homework with revision? Or do you prefer to schedule all your homework tasks on one day and then focus entirely on revision another? Are you an early bird or a night owl? Schedule your hardest study sessions for when your energy levels are highest. Remember that the performance of your brain is connected to the well-being of your body. Bear these things in mind when you are planning to revise. Before planning what to revise and when, you need to work out what you already know. Find out what's going to be in the test and figure out where the gaps in your knowledge are. Separate these things into topics and subtopics, pairing up related themes. Make your revision materials. These can be flashcards, mind maps, or any other form of note-taking. Add the exact dates, times, and locations of your exams into your calendar, then work backwards to schedule your revision. Don't forget to schedule in time for relaxing. Relaxation is an important part of the revision process, and you'll do it anyway. If you forget to include it in your schedule, you'll just eat into time you allocated for something else. And when revising, try to replicate the test conditions as much as possible. Memory is context-based. This means that recalling information is often easier when you're in a similar environment to when you learnt it. If you like the smell of a perfume, wear it while you revise and on the exam day. If you like listening to a certain song while revising, think of that song when you're in the exam hall. It will help your brain find the right connections to remember the information. If you know your exam will be in the morning, it's a good idea to do at least some of your revision in the morning. If you struggle with memory, plan your revision materials with this in mind. Draw your mind maps in memorable shapes. Recreate the relevant ones in the exam before constructing your answer. Flashcards are a great way to revise relationships between two pieces of information. They're great for learning definitions, vocabulary, dates and facts. They promote active recall, which is one of the ways our brains learn most effectively. There are a number of simple rules to follow when making flashcards. Rule number 1, make your own flashcards. One of the most important parts of learning is the process of taking in information and reforming it into something unique to you. By creating your own words and forms out of information, you build stronger neural pathways, which improves your recall ability. Rule number 2, combine words with pictures. This will make your flashcards more memorable. As I mentioned in the previous slide, if you struggle with memory, creating mind maps of information in distinct images and shapes with a certain number of different subsections can help you plot out the key parts of a topic. Recreate the relevant mind maps quickly on scrap paper at the start of your exam, and you'll have a framework for writing more long-form answers, and you'll know you've hit all the right points. This was an absolute lifesaver for me with exams at university. Rule number 3, use mnemonics like associative images. The more weird and wacky these pictures are, the more likely you are to remember them. Rule number 4, allow one question or fact per flashcard and break complex concepts down into multiple simple questions. This is really important. Our brains can easily confuse recognition for recall. If you have 4 things to remember on one flashcard, you may think you've learnt all of them equally well, but it's more likely that you've remembered 2 or 3 of them, but are not so sure about the 3rd or 4th. Having 4 separate flashcards is much more effective. Rule number 5, say your answers out loud when studying from flashcards. It makes you mentally commit to your answer before you look at the back of the card. Rule number 6, study your cards from both sides. This is a way of creating neural pathways in your brain that work in both directions and means that if you're asked either side of your flashcard, you'll be able to trace that neural pathway back to the right answer. On our next slide, we'll look at the most effective way to study using flashcards, using the Lightner system. This is a really popular exam technique that uses neuroscience to support your study. You'll need flashcards of questions and answers for this technique, a question on one side and the answer on another so you can test yourself. So it involves a little preparation, but it's well worth it. Okay, so it might sound strange, but one of the most important parts of the learning process is forgetting. The more we've forgotten something, meaning the harder you have to work to retrieve the information, the greater the increase in learning will be. It's like exercising any other muscle in the body. If you train and train and train, you won't build the muscle as fast as if you train, allow the muscle to rebuild at rest, and then train again. When we space out our learning, we make better connections, require less revision, and remember things more effectively. Spaced repetition, which is what the Lightner system is a tool that leverages this interesting memory phenomenon. By adding longer and longer intervals in between each of your study sessions, you'll study less, but learn more. So this is what you do. Decide on a number of boxes or elastic bands and sticky notes that you're going to use to hold your flashcards. Here you can see in the diagram I've chosen 5. a box for every day, every other day, once a week, fortnightly, and monthly. Each box will represent a different study time interval. The timings you choose may depend on how long you have until your exam. Start with all the flashcards in the most frequent box. Here it's the everyday box. Each time you get a card right, it graduates to the next box, so you see it less and less often. If you get a card wrong, it goes all the way back to the everyday box, no matter where it was. It's a little like the board game Snakes and Ladders. The benefits of this system are that you'll maximise your learning through the spacing technique, and you'll be studying more efficiently by spending more time on the cards that need the most attention. Your flashcards do need to be arranged as questions and answers, true and false, or for learning terminology, and it's a fantastic technique for language learning. Done right, with enough time before the exam day, it makes exam revision much less daunting and far more achievable than just cramming a week or so before the big day, and will build your confidence in the lead up to the exam, so will really help with exam nerves too. You can start really early and make a few flashcards after each relevant lesson, put the cards to one side until the start of your revision period, or start revising from them immediately, and perhaps choosing longer time intervals than I have done here. Exercise, good food, sleep and relaxation are all key to success. Let's start with exercise. When the pressure's on and you just don't want to go to that games lesson because you've still got more homework to do, it may help to remember that exercise has been scientifically proven to improve academic performance. It's believed that 60 minutes of exercise a day could improve performance by a full grade. On to food. Dieting during important times like when you have exams or coursework deadlines is a really bad idea. When your body notices a scarcity of food, your available brain bandwidth is significantly reduced. Similarly, healthy snacks that fuel your brain can give you an added edge. Peanut butter or Marmite are excellent choices for revision time. Adding yogurt or milk at mealtimes is another really easy way to boost your brain. Linseeds, nuts and seed are excellent sources of omega oils, crucial for brain development and memory. And dried apricots, oatcakes and cheese are great to eat before a long study session. That tricky topic of sleep. Each person has their own need for sleep. But the one thing we all have in common is that sleep is vital for our brain health, and especially memory. The average teenager needs about 9 hours of sleep a night. Your circadian rhythms naturally occur about 2 hours after adults, which explains why many of you are not sleepy at bedtime but can't drag yourself up in the morning. But trying to catch up on sleep on the weekend will only make your sleep pattern worse. It's also been found that a week of good sleep led to a boost in immunity and an increased positive response to vaccinations. So the only thing to do is get used to going to bed 8 or 9 hours before you need to get up. Routine is key. And finally, relaxation is not a reward. It is essential for physical and mental well-being, especially for allowing your brain to consolidate all your learning and improve your recall ability. You may need to relax to just calm your mind, or you may need to shift your focus away from a nagging worry. Different activities will help with one or other of these relaxation needs. Choose activities like yoga or mindfulness to calm your mind, and more active or exciting pursuits like running or dancing to transport you away from your worries. Reading for pleasure is an excellent activity for both types of relaxation needs, provided you haven't already spent all day with your nose in a book. So here are my top tips for revising and taking exams. When revising, try to replicate the test conditions as much as possible. Remember, memory is context-based, so if you can revise the material under conditions that are similar to those of the test, recalling it will be much easier when you're actually taking it. Make sure you know what to expect and recreate it during your revision sessions. Find out where the test will take place, how many questions there might be, if there'll be multiple choice, true or false, short answer or essay form, how long you'll have to sit in the exam. Plan your time effectively. Know that your willpower is a finite resource, and if you use it all up on small tasks early in the day, you're unlikely to have much left for a big study session in the evening. Do the hardest thing when your willpower reserves are as high as they can be. And remember, it always takes longer to revise than you think. If you're struggling with a certain concept, try going for a walk and reviewing it while you're outside. Many people find that if they're doing physical activity and are outside, their brain makes better connections. You'll also get to think about the concept from a different viewpoint in a different environment, which is great for your brain and for building those neural connections. On the day of the exam, brain dump any important information that you have in your head at the very start. Things like formulas, measurement conversions, facts, dates. Write it all down on some scrap paper. Get it all out there while it's still accessible. You can then use it as you work through the questions without fear of forgetting it when your brain starts to tire. Check through all of the questions. Later questions often provide clues and sometimes answers to earlier ones. If you're stuck on a question during the test, visualize your study area. The memory of the location might help you re-find the neural connections to the materials that you're trying to recall. And trust your gut. In the moment of writing your answer, rate it G or K for guess or known. If you have any time left over, you can revise any guesses. Research shows that when we judge our abilities in the moment, revisions made are more accurate. Don't be tempted to do this at the end of the exam though, as the research showed that this was too late and any revisions made were more often wrong and the participants should have stuck to their first answer. Well, I hope that's been helpful. All that's left for me to say is good luck to those of you sitting exams soon.